Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm coming to you I'm sitting on the floor in my bedroom like a kid. And the reason I'm here is because I'm going to discuss a new pursuit for the new year that I'd like to do. As we've discussed previously, I'm happy to do a bit of discussion every so often, probably once a month-ish, depending how things shake out, about poetry, poetics, and that kind of thing, which is great. I look forward to doing that. But another thing that I'm wanting to do is, well, mostly document for myself, but of course, I hope that other people will get something out of it too, otherwise I wouldn't bother making videos about any of it. There's a huge stash of quilt tops that I made a long time ago. Some of them are very old, meaning 10 or 12 years kind of age, because that's, excuse me, throat chakra. It was a hard time 12 years ago, so that's why I don't really tend to talk about quilt making all that much. It's got kind of interesting roots, so that's for another time. But I have here around me quilt tops that are unfinished. I have quilt blocks that are unfinished. I love the lion in the middle of this one. That's a cool one. I've got kits, quilt kits. Here's one I've had for a very long time. Like a very long time. There's a lot of fabric in here and it's gorgeous, and I still do want to make this. I want to make this quilt. It's fabulous. Look at the picture of it. Isn't that rad? Yes, it is. I want that. That's why I bought the kit. But I bought the kit like 8 years ago, I think. And here it is. It continues to be in its original bag. And untouched in all that time. There's another one that I don't even have the pattern for this anymore, but I've got the fabric, which is great because I can come up with something else to use it for, and I think that won't be very difficult. I've got this one. You know, back when Craftsy was super popular, they were the ones who sold these kits. Yeah. "2017. This one says right on it, 2017. That's how old this is. It is untouched. I've not done anything with it. This one has a print pattern in it, which is great, so I can follow that. But this one, this is another little one that I got that doesn't have a pattern with it, so I get to decide what I want to use it for. And I'm happy. 5.625 yards. So this one isn't very big, but still a sizable amount of fabric. Anyway, I want to do those, but I also really have a bee in my bonnet to complete these ones that I have here. There's quite a few. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 right here, and there are more in this bin here too. Yeah, there's like a ton more. So there's probably close to 20 that are unfinished, and these ones are big. They're not small. Last year I had the intention of doing this as well, and I managed to make 1 quilt. So January 2024, there it is. It's my label. This is the one quilt I made last year. Well, the very beginning of this year, you know what I mean. I didn't make any other ones because my kitchen was like, the kitchen is the only place I can sew. It's the only place in here that's got any room. And it was a mess until right before December. I guess, yeah, it would have been November when I finally got all the boxes cleared out of there. So now I have room again, and I would like to tackle these giant quilts. I've got one out in my living room that I'm going to tackle first because I've got all of the quilt top panels ready. I've got the quilt backing panels ready, and it has batting already with it. So it's ready to go. The only thing I need is basting spray, but other than that, I can do that. And it's a king size quilt, and there's just a really burning desire inside of me to get that one made so I can have a nice, new, really big bed quilt. One of the problems with my old quilts is that they tended to be too small. They fit a queen size bed, but they don't have a lot of drape over the sides. So a lot of the quilt tops that I have here next to me will be needing extra borders and sashing to make them bigger, but you know, that's easy. That's easily done. So yeah, I just want to make it kind of put it out on public record that I accumulated a lot of stuff. I started a lot of projects that I did not finish. Here's a classic example. There's a few blocks that I made that are complete. But you see, I made these a long time ago when I didn't have it, like any experience. So the blocks they're okay. They're not terrible, but I could have made them so much better. And I actually would have stood a chance at finishing it. You see, I have a few that are done, but you'll see here, let me grab some. Like, there's a bunch of pieces that are just loosey-goosey. I cut these all out, and then I proceeded to not finish. So I have this bag full of blocks that are, some of them done, some of them are just pieces, some of them are subunits, because I bit off way more than I could chew with this one. So I didn't have experience. I didn't know, oh, that's really ambitious. You don't need to do that as a first project. That's crazy. I wanted to I want to actually make progress on this because I've been trying to make progress on these things for a long time, and ever since moving out of my marriage and out here on my own, it's really been on my mind a lot that I have a lot of stuff, and it's stuff that I can't use because it's not a finished useful object. Like, you know, it's cool to have all these quilt tops, but I can't use them like quilts because they're not finished. So, and I don't know if you have much experience with fabric, but if you don't, I'll let you know that fabric is freaking heavy stuff. So when you've got all of this stuff that I'm sitting around that you can't see because it's not in frame, when you've got all of this fabric that serves no purpose and you're moving and stuff, it's a nightmare. And if you're me, you've got all this fabric, you've also got all your books, you've also got records, and those things as well are very heavy things, and they're hard to move. And I just want to have less and less unfinished stuff around me and more, you know, completed objects, and I'm, also in a place where I'm happy to go through things and donate that which I'm honestly not going to use. And I just want it to be a process that is documented so that I actually have to keep working on it and keep going forward with it. I did intend to make more quilts this past year that we've just had, but I didn't have incentive. I just thought, well, I live alone. Nobody could care less if I'm working on these incredibly ambitious and big projects or not. But since lately people have been, subscribing and commenting and being interested, I'm kind of like, well, okay, I can share other things. So that's what this video is about. I want to finish these objects that are just objects, and I want to share it with you. Another project that I'm staring at that I'm like kind of excited about is a project that I started a long time ago. There's a picture of what it looks like. It's this really rad butterfly, and you make all of those units that you see that create the shape of a butterfly. That's all pieced stuff that you gotta do first. And then you put it all together and you get this giant butterfly. It's really cool. And I don't remember where I am in the process anymore. I think I've made all of the little blocks. I think. That's a part of this process too, is I'm gonna have to go through each individual project as I choose to tackle it and reassess where I am in the process, because a lot of times these things just get abandoned and forgotten about completely. This one is about 4 years old now, but I was smart enough to put it all in a bin, so it's all still in reasonably good shape, and it's recent enough that my seam allowances were actually quite accurate. So, and my cutting was pretty good. So that's a good thing. Anyway, this is just one of the sort of resolutions that I have, even though I hesitate to call it a resolution. I don't have a particular set, like, I am going to complete one quilt a month or something like that. I don't want to do that, because I feel like if I do that, then I will just be setting myself up for disappointment later if something happens and I don't have the time, to dedicate to meeting that goal, right? So I don't want to put myself in, a rock and a hard place right out of the gate. I want to actually start seeing progress, because new good things cannot come into my life when my closets and everything are full of unfinished business. That's what it feels like. It's just this unfinished stuff just sitting there taking up space and not serving any purpose other than to fill up that space. And I don't want to live that way anymore. I want to have a home that is functional, that looks pretty, that I like and I'm proud of, and that I mostly made for myself. And I want it to also not be full of stuff that I don't or can't effectively use. And I don't know, I feel like maybe other people could get something out of that too, especially if you're into quilt making. Then you understand these things take forever to tackle, and a lot of us are just like this where we have unfinished tops, we have extra just scrap fabric bins, I also have under one of my couches out there, I have a bunch of fabric that has no plans. I just bought it. And that comes in the form of jelly roll strips, layer cakes, charm squares, mini charms. That's it. I don't have any just straight up yardage anymore. Nah, I used it. So I've got stuff to work through, and I don't know, I just felt like maybe putting it out there that maybe you'd want to see some of the stuff I have made and plan to keep working on, and I'll share that process with you a little bit. If you are into quilting, then you'll understand. Yeah. I want to finish my things too, because it's so sad almost to go through my boxes and be like, oh, look how cool that was. I remember that. That was a really cool idea. And it's just sitting here. Like, what? I just abandoned it. Why? Some of them is such a long time ago that I don't remember. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at today anyway. I gotta wrap this up so I can put everything back in my closet and carry on with the evening here. But anyway, I just wanted to put this out there that I have another idea, and I hope you'll be interested in. I'm just picking fabric thread off of me. That's one of those quilt problems. You get stuff all over you. Anyway, I hope this has been informative and interesting. I hope some of you anyway will kind of follow along and want to find out what's happening with this stuff, and I hope I can show you not necessarily tutorials and techniques. I mean, I could try, but I'm gonna be upfront about that. I'm not necessarily going to be a quilt channel or a, tutorial channel. There's so many good ones already out there on YouTube that do a billion times better job than I ever could with explaining and showing and having all the cameras and everything else that they need to really show you how to do something properly. So I would point you to, any number of those channels that are out there, like Missouri Star Quilt Company, they're kind of the biggest one. Just Get It Done Quilts. Her channel is a really good channel too. There's lots and lots of them. I'm obviously not going to name them all, but if you're into learning about that kind of thing and all the techniques, definitely go check out them. But anyway, I hope that this is going to go down smooth, and I look forward to showing in more detail these projects, because a lot of them have a lot of detail and I can't show them all in one video. It will be very, very long. So the other thing that I wouldn't mind doing a little bit that is quilting related, that's not the actual fabric, stuff, is kind of talking about the origins of sort of why the quilt thing happened. Because most people, they get into quilting because they see their grandmother did it, or their mom did it, or somebody in their family, or they went and they met people in a church group or something like that. Like, you often learn it kind of that way. I didn't, because neither of my grandmothers quilted, and I just kind of learned it during my pregnancy and kind of fell into it that way. I actually wrote an essay about it that will be appearing in an upcoming anthology. So there's that, but I'm happy to just tell you the story along the way too. And I have old quilts, like the very, very, very first ones that I made when I didn't know anything about anything, and they are quilts that I keep just as a reference. So I can be like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. That's totally wrong. But I remember doing that and I learned the right way. So anyway, it was nice to see you, and I really, really hope that you're into this and that we can do this together and I can finally make progress on these things and have finished things in my place. Yay! Yeah, I will see you later. And don't forget, of course, right, I'm being a YouTuber. There's the subscribe button there and a video down here. and I hope you'll go and watch some more, and I will talk to you very, very soon.